Hello guys, Fake Beard here. In this video I'm taking a look at some of my most anticipated games for the second half of June 2022. I hope you guys have fun watching the video. So first up on my list I have Legacy of Thieves Collection. This is basically a bundle that brings to the PC two titles developed by Naughty Dog that were previously PlayStation exclusives. That would be Uncharted 4: A Thief's End and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. They are typical PlayStation exclusives, third-person action-adventure with cinematic storytelling. They were both originally released to the PS4 and then eventually remastered for the PS5. Uncharted is one of those series that has always been critically acclaimed, very well received on the PlayStation, with most reviews giving it at least an 8. Unless something goes wrong in the porting process, we should be looking at two solid games hitting the PC this June. Next up we have Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Sunbreak is a DLC to the action role-playing game Monster Hunter Rise developed by Capcom that was released for PC and Nintendo Switch in early 2021. The original game has the player take the role of a hunter on a quest to slay or capture a large number of monsters. You could use various different weapons or tools and would acquire better gear if successful. Now Sunbreak is supposed to bring more locations for the player to explore, new skills for all the weapons that already exist in game, and new types of enemies to slay. Basically more of the same formula of the original game. And since the original was very well received by both public and critics, more of the same might very well be a good thing in this case. After a few delays, Cuphead will finally be releasing its awaited DLC Delicious Last Course this June. In case you are not familiar, the original Cuphead was a 2D platformer shooter released by indie developer MDHR in 2017. The game immediately turned heads because of the unique art style and high difficulty of its bosses, making it very reminiscent of old school platformers. It was received favorably by the critics, and within the first 2 weeks it had sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Like in the original game, the DLC will also see the two brothers Cuphead and Mugman face off against difficult bosses, this time along with a new playable character, Miss Chalice. One interesting aspect of the DLC is that once the player has acquired a new weapon or the new playable character Miss Chalice, they will be able to go back and use them in the levels of the original game in order to beat their old high scores. The DLC will be releasing for all platforms for the low price of $7.99. Outriders is a looter shooter developed by Polish developer People Can Fly. It was released on all platforms in April 2021. It was an immediate commercial success and became bestseller in many countries during its months of release. The game is kinda similar to Destiny 2. It's a looter shooter where you choose one of 4 classes to play as. Each class having its unique abilities, you have access to a wide array of weapons, you travel from planet to complete side quests for NPCs while also progressing through the main story of the game. Now June the 30th, People Can Fly is releasing the DLC World Slayer. The DLC will expand upon the original game with several things like new weapons, new gear, 2 new skill tree branches per class, new endgame content, and a new mechanic called Ascension Points, which lets you specialize your build even further. The expansion will also increase the level cap to 40 and offer a boost to level 30 for people who want to skip the original game and jump straight into what the expansion has to offer. Next we have Oxide Room 104, an indie horror game developed by Wild Sphere Studios, releasing to all platforms this June. Watching the trailer of this game immediately reminded me of the horror movie franchise Saw. It's that movie where protagonists find themselves trapped in life-threatening situations and have to solve puzzles or overcome challenges in order to make it out alive. Very similarly, Room 104 sees the player abducted by a crazy scientist and waking up in the bathtub of a motel room from which he has to escape in order to stay alive. The gameplay consists of interacting with environment to find maps or tools to defend yourself, solving puzzles in order to survive the situation you find yourself in. The game is supposed to have decent replayability since the different decisions that you make will lead to different outcomes and eventually different endings. This seems like a pretty interesting game for fans of horror games such as Observer or maybe even the Man of Medan series. Capcom Fighting Collection is a bundle of 10 popular 2D beat-em-ups released in the 90s by Capcom. It includes titles from iconic series such as Street Fighters, Darkstalkers, Cyberbots, and the first port of Red Earth to home consoles. Most titles included in this release will allow players to select from both the English and the Japanese version of the game for those who preferred the voiceover in the original language. The highlight of this bundle, in my opinion, is that it will bring online play to these Capcom arcade classics from the 90s. Online play will include a competitive ranked matchmaking system with global leaderboard, as well as a casual game mode and a spectator mode as well. Last but not least, the game also includes a museum mode with concept art and behind-the-scenes material never shown before to the public. All in all, Capcom Fighting Collection sounds like a real treat for old-school fans of the genre, and it's releasing this June on all platforms. Phobia St. Dinfa Hotel is another indie first-person horror game, this time developed by Maximum Studios. In this game you're playing the role of an amateur investigative journalist who is visiting an abandoned hotel located in Brazil, the St. Dinfa Hotel, rumored to be subject of various paranormal activities and mysterious disappearances. The game will mix traditional survival horror mechanics such as resource management and puzzle solving with time traveling and alternate realities. Traveling between timelines and realities is possible thanks to a special camera that the player uses to reveal different timelines, giving them the ability to hop from the present to the past or even the future, in order to unravel the secrets of the mysterious St. Dinfa Hotel. The game is coming June the 28th to all platforms. Neon White is a speedrunning first-person action platformer shooter developed by Angel Matrix, releasing June the 16th for both PC and Nintendo Switch. The storyline sounds pretty interesting. It has you play as a demon picked from hell and given the opportunity to compete with other demons for a chance to live in heaven. Other than the unique storyline, the game also has a unique look inspired by Japanese anime. The gameplay looks very simple yet potentially entertaining. You speedrun through platforming levels and gather cards. Each card you gather represents a weapon or a power-up. You can choose to use the card as the weapon it represents, or throw the card away and receive a movement power-up such as a speed boost or a dash or a jump. The game looks like it could be a lot of fun, especially if played on the go. My only gripe with it is that it's not coming to mobile. Maybe down the line, if we're lucky, we can see the game ported to iOS or Android for those of us who like gaming on our mobile phones. The original AI Sonium file released in 2019 by Spike Chunsoft was a visual novel adventure with Japanese anime graphics, where you played the role of a detective on a mission to investigate a murder. The game would alternate between sessions where you investigate the game world using X-ray vision or zooming, and parts where you use a machine to enter memories of characters that didn't want to share information with you. Once inside their memories, you would search for clues and extract information by solving puzzles. The game featured different endings based on choices made, giving it a lot of replayability. Nirvana Initiative will be using the same game formula of the original while introducing a more complex story with brand new characters as well as returning characters from the original game. The follow-up also introduces a second protagonist that lets you experience your adventure from 2 points of view. The memory extraction parts have also been enhanced with new puzzles and minigames. Nirvana Initiative is releasing June the 24th on all platforms. And that's it, guys. This was the list of my most anticipated games dropping during the second half of June. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, and if you made it this far, please drop me a like and maybe even subscribe if you want to see more similar content. This was Fake Beard, and I hope you guys have a nice day.